Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Can you make a retirement work with modest investments and modest savings? This is a thought that's crossed my mind while I was reading a report from Vanguard. The report is titled How to Turn Retirement Savings into Retirement Income. This report is a bit vintage since it was published in 2019, but does have a couple case studies that I think are worth exploring from a couple different angles. But before I dive in, I want to talk about a concept I was recently reading about called vicarious mastery. It's a concept from social learning theory, this idea that people gain confidence by watching others succeed, rather than learning through direct experience. This really got me thinking about my channel and the goal for my channel, which is to help people feel financially prepared for their future and for their eventual retirement. Retirement can be a little bit overwhelming and scary because you really only get one shot at it, and it can come with a lot of uncertainty and unanswered questions. My goal is to show different approaches to retirement planning so you can find what works best for you. Seeing various strategies in action can help to give you the confidence you need to plan your own retirement and plan it so you feel financially secure. So with that said, let's look at a case study. In our first example, we have Jim, age 66, and Barbara, age 65. Jim is retiring from engineering where he has modest investments in his employer's 401k plan. Barbara is retiring from teaching where she will have a pension in retirement. So the couple will have multiple streams of income and they're willing to maintain a flexible withdrawal strategy on their investments. Let's look at what their income streams and their portfolio will look like. Jim has $200,000 in a 401k. Barbara has a pension that will pay $950 a month. Jim will receive $1,900 a month in Social Security benefits, and Barbara will receive $700 a month from Social Security. Barbara also plans to continue working as a part-time teacher, earning an estimated $450 a month. They plan to utilize the rule of 4% in withdrawing funds from Jim's 401k. So the 401k will provide $8,000 a year, or about $667 per month. So ultimately, this couple's income will be $4,667 per month, or $56,000 a year. Multiple income streams provide greater flexibility and financial security in retirement. This puts a lot less pressure on any single income source. Ultimately, this couple has 5 income streams. They have 2 Social Security payments, they have a pension from Barbara's side, we have investment income from Jim's 401k, and Barbara plans to continue working part-time, earning an income. The Vanguard example also says that this couple is willing to maintain a flexible withdrawal strategy. For example, if the market experiences a modest downturn, they're willing to reduce their withdrawal rate. If the market experiences a more severe downturn, say in the ballpark of 20% or more, they're willing to forego their withdrawal from investments altogether. And this is because the couple has 4 other streams of income. It takes the pressure off their individual investments. Also consider that 3 of those income sources are guaranteed. Social Security and a pension, those are guaranteed. And ultimately, this enables them to retire in what can easily be considered modest investments. Let's assume the income of $56,000 a year covers this couple's every want and need. So let's look at some ways we can boost their guaranteed income streams. Importantly, this Vanguard report says that Jim and Barbara are married, and this is an important distinction. Also, based on the date of the report, we can assume that their full retirement age is 66, at which point Jim's benefit from Social Security would be $1,900 a month, and the report also states that at the age of 65, so less than full retirement age, Barbara's benefit from Social Security would be $700 a month. This immediately tells us that this must be Barbara's personal Social Security benefit, because if Barbara were to claim spousal benefits through Social Security, she would receive a higher benefit. If she were to claim at 65 through spousal benefits, she would receive $793 a month. The big takeaway here is that Barbara needs to contact Social Security because there's an error. She needs to have her marriage license handy and she can claim the higher spousal benefit. This would be an immediate boost in her benefits. Also, if Barbara is willing to delay her retirement just 1 year, she would be entitled to 50% of Jim's benefit at full retirement age, or $950 a month. I think this is a really smart move, so I would recommend a 1-year delay. If Jim delays retirement by a year, his benefits increase from $1,900 a month to $2,052 per month. With these 2 moves alone, we could end up boosting the household income by $402 a month. And maybe this means that Barbara wouldn't have to continue doing part-time work in retirement. And remember, this is a guaranteed income stream. Part-time work may or may not be. I also want to talk about a couple other considerations. Now, I know not everyone wants to work until 70, but let's talk about what would happen if the couple did wait until 70 to claim Social Security. If Jim were to continue working until the age of 70 and delay claiming his own personal Social Security benefit until that age, his benefit would be about $2,500 per month. Barbara's spousal benefit would still be $950 a month, and this would give them an annual income from Social Security of about $42,000 a year. Remember, Barbara still has a pension of $950 per month, and suddenly this household would now have a guaranteed income of roughly $53,000 a year. Now, if they're still targeting an income of $56,000 a year, you can see that the gap here is incredibly small. We have guaranteed income streams of about $53,000 a year, so the gap is about $3,000. This makes them much less reliant on part-time work and much less reliant on their investments. What if we looked at it from another angle? I do think both of these individuals should work 1 year longer. Let's get Barbara to full retirement age and then they can retire at the same time together. But what if, even though they retire earlier, what if Jim is willing to delay claiming Social Security until the age of 70? Could we fund this retirement in the early years? Well, at this point, Barbara would be able to claim her own Social Security benefit at full retirement age, which would give her $750 a month. She would also have her pension of $950 per month. Perhaps she's still willing to continue working part-time. That's another $450 a month, giving them a household income of $2,150 per month, or almost $26,000 for the year. In the example that Vanguard gave, Vanguard said that this couple was willing to be flexible with their withdrawal. So while they are targeting an income of $56,000 a year, they're willing to forego their investment withdrawal in the down years. So let's say that they're willing to forego this $8,000 draw on investments for these years leading up to that golden age of 70. So instead, let's focus on a targeted income of $48,000 a year. Well, in this situation, with a targeted income of $48,000 a year and a guaranteed household income of $25,800 a year, that gives us a gap of $22,200. Now, in the situation of a robust market, we could talk about this couple withdrawing this amount from their $200,000 investments on an annual basis, just to get them through those 3 years. Now, if this causes your ears to perk up a little bit, it should, because that's roughly an 11% rate of withdrawal. And I am not suggesting that an 11% rate of withdrawal is sustainable in the long term. And I do think even in the short term, it requires retiring into the right market conditions. So a market that is very robust and up. But I do think it's a talking point if this couple is set on retiring at a young age and somehow funding until they pull Social Security at the age of 70 for Jim. By the age of 70, with Jim claiming Social Security and Barbara switching to spousal benefits, nearly 100% of the income needs will be covered by guaranteed sources. At this point, they wouldn't have to make any withdrawals from their portfolio whatsoever. I'm not saying it's a perfect plan. It does require the proper market conditions, but I do think it's a talking point. Another consideration is what the household income would look like in the event of either Jim or Barbara passing away. If Jim were to pass away first and had been receiving Social Security benefits of $1,900 a month, Barbara would be able to switch to this $1,900 a month in survivor benefits. In that case, her household income would include survivor benefits, the equivalent of Jim's Social Security benefits, that $1,900 a month, her pension of $950 a month, and the income from Jim's 401k, the equivalent of $8,000 per year, giving her a household income of $42,200 per year without considering any part-time work. On the other hand, if Jim had waited until the age of 70 and his monthly benefit was $2,500 a month, this would be Barbara's survivor benefit, giving her a household income of about $50,000 a year. Now let's look at it from Jim's perspective. What if Barbara were to pass away first? Because Barbara still represents a sizable income for the household. We need to determine what happens to Barbara's pension if she passes away. Now, there are a wide variety of things that can happen to a pension. The pension may entirely stop when the pensioner dies, or maybe there's a survivor option where they receive a percentage of the pension amount. Maybe they receive 100% of the pension amount. Maybe there's a one-time payout, or maybe payments continue for a set number of years. Let's run 2 examples. If we assume Barbara's pension entirely stops when she passes, if Jim were receiving $1,900 a month from Social Security, once Barbara passes away, suddenly Jim is only left with his Social Security benefit and his 401k, giving him a household income of $30,800 a year. If he had waited until 70 to claim Social Security benefits, his annual household income would be closer to $38,000 a year. In both situations, Jim has a pretty sizable household gap if the targeted income is $56,000 a year. Let's run another example, assuming that Barbara's pension continues paying Jim 50% of the pension amount once she passes. In that case, Jim would receive $475 a month from Barbara's pension. And if he were receiving $1,900 a month from Social Security, add in his draw on his investments, this would give him an income closer to $36,500 for the year. If he had waited until 70 to claim Social Security benefits, his household income would be about $44,000 a year. When considering Social Security and pension decisions, it's not simply about considering what your monthly budget will look like in retirement, but you also want to consider what the monthly budget of the household would look like in the event of your passing or your spouse's passing, because losing income streams in retirement can leave your spouse financially vulnerable. So what are your considerations as you go into retirement? How are you factoring in Social Security, any pensions, any income sources for both you and your spouse? Leave your thoughts in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Jim retiring from a school. That should be done in 1 is taking 3. So sorry. It's like a puzzle. You have to figure out how to put it together. It's a puzzle you don't want to do. I'm so sorry. Jim would receive $475